Sunrise Extra on a Monday. We know a lot of you are checking the weather apps, you're checking the skies, you are looking for some snowflakes. So the weatherman's got his coffee. He is all jacked up on
football.
Patrick Mahomes.
Don't talk to me right now. I'm drinking my coffee.
A lot of man love going on between him and one certain
Rod, it looked
quarterback.
like you were flexing there to start the Sunrise Extra. Did I see that right?
This is a true story. I don't remember why, but about a month ago, I did like 3 push-ups for no apparent reason.
Well,
Keep it going then.
some do it to stay in shape. That's why some people do that.
He's on very little sleep, people, because of the Chiefs game yesterday, but
Yes.
he is gracing us with his weather knowledge because a lot of you guys have questions. So give us the lowdown. You're saying really like nothing until maybe Tuesday night, Wednesday.
Yeah, so here's what we have going on. You know, last week we started to make a big deal that for the first time this winter, there would actually be a massive cold air mass coming down from the Arctic and northern Canada that would blanket all of Canada. So far this winter, there have been cold air shoots coming down across the Hudson Bay. That hits the eastern half of our country, but nothing out west. So true enough, all of a sudden, we're now in this period of days where the snow level is generally going to be near to above 1,000 feet, but certainly just snow at 1,500 feet. And evidence of that is we're waking up to snow-covered Cascade passes. The higher passes are all snow-covered now over the Coast Range. That's Highway 26. So FYI, if you have to drive back and forth between the valley and the coast today or the coming days, and then certainly the Cascades have turned much colder. It was 17 at Timberline this morning, and those roads are snow-covered. And then here in the valley, we haven't seen this. I think today's the first day, right? We actually had radar showing some flurries mixed with raindrops and these light, frivolous showers that are scattered about this morning. Now, most of the metro is above freezing, not really any weather issues. But tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, we get an east wind flow. Now, east winds, by their nature, draw cold air from the Columbia Basin, you know, Pendleton, through the Dalles, and they push that cold air into the Willamette Valley. And those winds can produce lower snow levels than you would think you're going to have. So we're just putting out the big, you're looking at radar right now. And again, the green is rain and that other, you know, kind of pinkish tones and white would be some flurry activity, just light stuff, really. But so tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, we'll be keeping a close eye. We think, generally speaking, there's a really good chance that at least some of the elevations near 1,000 feet will pick up accumulating snow, a good 4 inches maybe at 1,500 feet. But with those east winds, sometimes you get, because of our topography, you know, we have flat spots and hilly spots and little valleys mixed throughout the Willamette Valley, if you will, that like Bull Mountain out in Tigard, for example, that we think there could be some low snow spots at lowest elevations with temperatures right around freezing tomorrow overnight into Wednesday morning. And that's not uncommon. You know, often, you know, Portland doesn't get anything. And then people go, you weather people are idiots. But we're like, wait a minute. We have these neighborhoods between Salem and Vancouver and up to Kelso where they do have an inch or two on the ground. So we think that's at least a possibility going into Wednesday morning. And keep in mind, what do I do for a living? I wish I was smart enough to tell you exactly what's going to happen. I'm not. I don't know of anybody that is. But I am smart enough to tell you about the possibilities of things we're watching. And that's what we're watching tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. There's about 1/4 of an inch of total moisture coming in tomorrow afternoon into the night. So if you live in a spot that turned out to be all snow, you know, just above Sandy, for example, that's a good 4 inches of snow. And for the rest of us, we'll see if we end up getting some dustings or an inch at some of the lower elevation scatter with temperatures anywhere from near freezing to mid-30s going into Wednesday morning. That's what I know.
I have a couple of thoughts. Number one, you are smart enough to do the job for sure. Like, honestly, it doesn't come down to smarts, right? You are as smart as the next guy when it comes to reading the models and looking at the maps and seeing what's coming. In fact, I would say if you're basing this on like turning the channels, he's better than the next guy.
I was going to say, it does kind of come down to smarts.
Well, I know that you know as well as anyone how to read all of the tools that are in your toolbox.
Well, I have a lot of experience.
So really, you never know what's going to happen, the way things can break over the course of even a 48-hour period. Today, again, we're fine. Tomorrow, if we were to start seeing some sort of like wintry precipitation, let's call it that, you're expecting that to start around what time in the valley?
You know, it's certainly rain when this initially hits in the valley. It's all snow over the Coast Range high passes starting tomorrow afternoon. Okay. It's raining by mid-afternoon, if not as early as 2 o'clock in Portland. But then once that sun goes down, and we'll be watching east winds. Now, if those east winds kick and blow to 20 miles per hour coming out of the gorge, then at any point tomorrow evening into Wednesday morning, we could see at least some locations between Albany and Longview at low elevations pick up a little bit of snow. There's some question as to if the moisture gets really scattered and light around midnight tomorrow night into Wednesday morning. But I think there's a decent chance we actually have fairly steady moisture much of Tuesday overnight.
Okay, that's very scientific, but Jennifer Taft does something a little differently on the stream.
Give it to
Good morning, Jennifer. I'm doing my snow voodoo. Involves playing George Winston, coffee out of my magic mug, candles, snow dancing PJs inside out, spoons under pillows. I don't know that one. Join me in my snow summoning.
Wow.
Shall we
PJs
conjure?
Inside out. That's a big deal, that sounds like.
Which voodoo do you do? Jennifer Taft does the snow voodoo.
Yes, she
Well,
does.
I'm gonna wear my PJs inside out tomorrow night and see what happens.
So are you liking a big snow event once a year if you could have your choice, if you were the emperor of weather, or would you have nothing at all?
Yeah, that's kind of the
All
overarching
or
question
nothing.
this morning.
Yeah.
I would think like a major snow event in the valley, I'm going to say 6+ inches. So if you need specifics, I'm talking, would you rather have just one 6+ inch snow event in the valley, or would you rather not see any snow at all over the course of a winter?
Renee Robertson says, I love snow.
Well, so she
Jake
gets thumbs up.
Moe asking what, Rod just kind of went over. Snow in Vancouver and Portland area, what do you think? If you had to trust your gut, not your science, what would you say, Rod, about low elevation or valley floor snow on Wednesday?
Well, my gut goes hand in hand with what I'm looking at, so I can't really separate those two. But it's 50-50, and I say 50-50 when I absolutely think I wouldn't be surprised if we have some low elevation snow in spots. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't. I think it's highly unlikely that we have any widespread low elevation snow. I mean, Portland is probably going to, because of cloud cover, hold above freezing Tuesday overnight into Wednesday morning.
It really just has been a mild winter so far.
Yeah, it really has.
Wet, plenty wet. But just not warm enough, or pardon me, cold enough for sure.
Well, this is the first stretch. This week will be the first, I think this is correct. This week will be the first stretch of significant days, day after day after day, where we don't hit 50, right? It's been that warm. For crying out loud, we've had few days that haven't hit 50, and this week we think will be the first week of winter where we don't hit 50 all week. That's how mild we've been, yeah.
Yeah, Kristen says on the East Coast it could snow 2 feet and the roads would be fine. A couple inches here is a nightmare, so no snow.
Oh!
But Shireen says bring on the snow.
Yeah.
We did change our method of attack when it comes to snowy roads, right, a couple of years ago.
We've gotten much better at it, yeah, for
And we
sure.
haven't had to really test it because it was that winter. Now we always kind of mess up the years exactly, but I think it was 16 into 17, like December 16, January 17, where we had a lot of snow.
Yeah, we did.
Schools were canceled both months, and just a lot of problems on the roads. If I'm getting
They
the
were
winter
just
right.
getting
You're right.
grilled
You're
for
correct.
it. Yeah, not using salt and all kinds of stuff.
So we changed it since then. We just haven't had really the event to put it to the real test.
They've done well. I mean, for little storms afterwards, but yeah, they just got grilled after
And
that.
they did that. That happened for years. My entire first 17 years living here, that's all I heard every winter was, we don't know how to do this. We don't know how to do this. Everyone else does it right. We're doing it wrong.
No, I think the correct, honestly, Drew, the truth is we knew how to do it. We chose not to. I think that's factually correct. We made
it was
the
their
conscious
policy to not
decision
use salt.
not to salt and not to treat our roads the way that most of the country does. And I think it's correct. It was an environmental choice, but we chose not to.
Rhonda Thompson Jones says, I want snow. I'm from Southern Oregon. It snowed there yesterday and I miss it. So yeah, she's ready.
Oh, Southern Oregon's so pretty.
Isn't it gorgeous?
There is something about the snow falling that's cool. I mean, I don't know, even as an adult, I still think it's neat to open the windows up and see snow falling outside the house.
Yeah.
I like to watch it accumulate in the driveway, on the sidewalks, and on the lawn.
Do you?
If it's still happening 3 days later, if we're still experiencing that same event, and I'm having to dig the car out to get to work, and I'm going 6 miles an hour on the way to work at 3 o'clock in the morning, like that, at some point it becomes unfun. But that initial opening up of the window and seeing snow fall outside your house, it is cool. It brings excitement.
Absolutely.
You know what's
And that
fun,
is-
real quick?
Oh, go ahead.
On those snowy mornings, you know, the weatherman's got to get up, he's got to get to work. There was one of the big snowfalls some years back. I don't remember which one, but it was one of those 8-inch snow events. I-5 had not been plowed yet between Vancouver and downtown Portland. So at the time, I had my 07 Subaru Forester, man, and I am just going for it. And I realized I had the whole highway, and I'm like,
Well, you were in the right car for it.
It was
Those
so
things
much
handle
fun.
well, yeah.
I thought there was a crash at the end of that story, but no, you made it.
no,
you
yeah.
made
Made it
fine.
okay. I know that's the thing. When in this business we get snow, we work overtime. Everybody else gets to go and play. And so they're always wanting snow. And I always find myself going, no, that's just extra hours.
But it is kind of fun, like everyone's talking about the same thing, you know, and you're all in the same boat and you get to see pictures, you know, and it is just kind of a must-watch event, you know, like even, I mean, on the morning show, it's kind of nice, you know, you get to, at some point, the news turns off for the morning, and then you're done, and you get to go home and watch everybody else. And so, but I love those kind of must-watch events of like, let's see everyone slipping and sliding in their cars, or the kids throwing snowballs, or what hills are the best to sled down.
yeah, it's fun.
That kind of stuff.
We have had a few. I mean, I would say the majority of the events, Rod, would you agree? I mean, most of the big events start with an overnight snowfall when temperatures are coldest, but we have had some events around here that have started in the afternoon.
Yes.
And those often cause the most
worst.
problems because the day began, you know, relatively normal. The day ended in absolute weather chaos, and that seems to be the trickiest situation when
And-
people have already left their homes.
My memory says that the ones, you're absolutely right, by the way, and the ones that start in the afternoon, there have been a handful of those that came in as snow much quicker than expected, or quite frankly, came in as snow when it was expected to be rain. So some of those events have been really tricky.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is there a forecast that you just got perfect and you're just super proud of? And then conversely, is there one
Well,
that you just miss that sticks out in your mind?
All right, so a couple. Can I switch cities though?
Sure.
My most proud moment as a snow forecaster is when I worked in Cincinnati, which is where I was working before I moved here. And I had just moved from Michigan. So in Michigan, to wake up in the morning and go, we're going to have 8 inches of snow, people are like, okay, tell me something else is new, right? Nobody cares. But in Cincinnati, 8 inches of snow is kind of like Portland. Cincinnati's very similar. You can go years without getting anything. Most of the time, it just snows a few inches. So I went out very boldly and said, we're going to have 15 inches of snow with this system coming in. I had no idea because I was new that was a big deal. And in fact, I guess the Weather Service was forecasting like 2 to 5 inches of snow. And if I'm correct, the other channels, nobody was going more than 4, 5, or 6. So I get called to my news director's office and just ripped a new one for embarrassing the station and
Scaring
saying
people.
that, you know, it doesn't snow like that here, and you've embarrassed the station, and you need to do whatever. And I was like, well, I think it's going to snow. That's what the data says. It snowed 15.6 inches of snow over the next 24 hours.
That was
That's
your
probably
Super
my
Bowl.
proudest moment. But it was interesting because I didn't know I couldn't do that in Cincinnati. So I didn't even think about it.
No, that I couldn't.
That
your
was my
Super Bowl
proudest moment.
MVP performance right there. That's amazing,
Yeah,
actually.
that was great. And then there was the one, how many winters back where we forecasted widespread snow in Portland, and they had like 6 to 8 inches in Gresham and basically East Multnomah County. We had, I think, 4 inches of snow where I live up in Clark County, but that was a storm that Beaverton got nothing.
Right, Washington
and
County,
it just
really.
rained in Washington County, and those people were ripping forecasters a new one.
That wasn't that long ago. I
Yeah,
feel
that was
like.
just a few years
Pretty
back.
recent.
Yes.
So I would say, not that I was ashamed of that forecast, but that was probably the one that I was the most puzzled. And I say not ashamed because if I had to do it all over again, looking at the same weather maps, I probably would have forecasted the same
Yeah,
thing.
it's so hard.
That was just an amazing, it just didn't turn out the way it looked like it should have. Yeah.
The forecast was spot on. It just didn't work out.
Yeah, exactly. Mother Nature blew it, not the forecast.
Any chance, Rod, when you were in Cincinnati, any chance the call letters of the station you worked at, WKRP, any chance?
No, but true story. When I got that job, I was working in Grand Rapids. I got the job to go to WCPO in Cincinnati. And so for like the weeks before, I'm in the shower singing that baby, if you ever wondered. I'm singing that song.
Wondered whatever became of Rod. He's living on the air in Cincinnati.
Elaine Medley is watching us from Vernonia. She says, we've got some good snow right now in Vernonia. The roads are dangerous.
Up in there, what's Vernonia? Around
Not so
600
nice.
to 700 feet, I think, off the top of my head. I might be wrong. I think they're around 600 feet.
He's watching us live from Vernonia.
Joshua Madrid says, I'm a Colorado guy who's been here for 18 years and I really miss snowy winters. While Portland lacks the infrastructure to take on major snow events, I'd love to see several feet.
Whoa.
Snow days are the
Feet?
Might
best.
as well.
Oh my gosh, we'd be
This is
shut
the
down
year
for
to
2
do it.
weeks.
Less
Literally
people
have
driving.
By going to the mountain, though. That's what's pretty cool, in my opinion, about this place. I mean, if you are really starving for some snow,
Yeah.
it's right there.
Yeah.
Go have at it. Just drive up to the mountain, right? It is nice that we have it this time of the year, really, if you want it, not too far away.
Timberline picked up 6 inches over the past 24 hours as you look at our live Timberline Lodge camera. 17 degrees up there this morning. It's cold.
So last year, we did get a snow event the first weekend in March. I keep thinking about that because, you know, this winter sort of feels like that winter did, just in terms of the warmer December, January. So maybe, Rod, I mean, I don't know. Can you forecast 6 weeks in the
No.
future? Is it possible that we could kind of get colder as we move along here in the winter?
So right now, it looks like this cold stretch that we're getting into, and I mean, it's not crazy cold, but certainly we're looking at temperatures generally below normal, stays with us through about the first couple of weeks of February. There might be a little period the first few days of February that warm up, but generally kind of chilly through mid-February. But models go on to show that there's a second surge of below normal temperatures and above normal rain this March and April. So the models like it being one of those kind of rainy, chilly, what I call crappy springs.
Nice.
And we'll be ready to get outside by then. So I'm not sure I like that trade-off thus far. Trish Sanders says, what a treat it would be for the kids. Absolutely. And then Rhonda weighs in and says, snow is very peaceful.
Yeah.
It really is when it's falling.
Yeah.
It will be curious to see how distance learning is handled with snow. I mean, typically, you know, and a little bit of snow falls, you know, school's not happening because buses can't function, teachers can't maybe get to the classrooms, but it'll be interesting to see because our school district has already said, you know, a traditional snow day may not happen this year as long as the teachers can still present a lesson to the students by way of Zoom.
Do you think there would be a high absentee rate? If there was a big snowstorm, do you think kids are really going to, I'm guessing some of them are going to play hooky and go out and go sledding. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, you kind of, the way this distance
you can
learning
almost
thing
just do
works,
it on your own
yes,
time.
You can do it.
Yeah.
It seems like you can do it at your own pace.
Now, my daughter's school, she's in bona fide Zoom classes from
Like live
basically
ones.
10 through 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
Yeah.
She can't slip out. Rita says it's snowing in Grand Ronde.
There you go. Yeah, up in the Coast Range.
Yeah.
I always think of Grand Ronde as approaching the Coast Range, but maybe that it's a little higher up in elevation.
It's kind of in a flat spot in that. But no, I mean, you're right. It's just before you really get up.
But they're getting snow is my point. So you don't have to just be in the Coast Range, I guess, right now to get it, is what she's saying.
That sounds correct to me, Drew.
All right, well, just confirming. We're not in the range there. We're getting snow outside the range.
All right, you guys.
Shireen says
Oh,
their
go ahead.
school says they are going to cancel if they get snow. What school district?
What school? Yeah.
Are you in, Shireen Miller Simmons?
And what is that because the teachers are actually traveling to this, like their classrooms to do the virtual lessons?
Part of the reason I know that for sure.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick poll. Raise your hand, the four of us, raise your hand. If it's a big snowstorm, especially for elementary kids, do you think they should give them a snow day so they can go out and have fun in the snow all day, which we don't have very often? I say yes. I raise my hand.
Why not?
Anybody else? Come on.
Sure.
Yes?
Sure.
Drew?
No, I say no.
No?
Give them a lesson, make them work. Because you know what
Let them
happens?
enjoy the summer because they'll tack on the days, you know, at the end.
All right.
They're not going to spend all day outside, especially the elementary school kids, those little kids. They're not going to spend all day outside. They're going to get cold.
Yeah.
They're going to come inside. They're going to annoy their parents. You're going to want to have them doing something. Give them the schoolwork.
You're a fuddy-duddy.
A little bit, Rob. A little bit.
Speaking from experience is
Yes.
what that sounds like,
Yes.
Mr. Carney.
Well, I thought you were going to sled for 6 hours. It's been 6 minutes and you're cold.
You're
Now
back.
what do we do?
Now you're begging me for some snacks or something.
Hot chocolate. Oh, I don't like the mini marshmallows. I like the big ones.
All right, you guys.
You want to leave, yeah.
Let's wrap it up. We will continue to watch this and have the latest tomorrow morning. Have a good Monday.